Lynn Raginski, and I came to Cornerstone of Hope in, I believe it was August of 2010, probably about a month after my husband was killed in a construction accident, and it was my family that encouraged me to come here. Cornerstone was just, it was our saving grace. And, I'm sorry, it brought my faith back.
Yes.
It brought my faith back because that was God's way of saying, I'm here, and I'm putting somebody in your life to help you bring that faith back. And that's, I always, to this day, I always look for those little things that they call God winks. There's always those little, but we have to make a conscious effort. You realize that God is with you, that there's always some type of intervention. And again, I can't say enough about Cornerstone.
You need someone to talk to that can guide you and let you know that what you're feeling is normal. For me, it was, I had a 7-week-old grandson when my husband was killed, and he was my everything. And my kids came to the house to visit, and I didn't want to hold the baby. I just kept thinking, when are they going to go home? They need to take him home. And I walked out of the room and went to another room and just bawled because I knew if I didn't want to hold that baby, I needed help. So I went and held him and just cried and held him. And that's when I started looking for a place to go. And when I came to Cornerstone, it was like that's where I belonged. It's where I fit because they just made me feel so comfortable that I would be able to talk about my feelings and
Not be judged.
And ask questions and not feel like that was a stupid question. So just if you're grieving and you feel like you might need help but you're not sure, go once. Go one time.
I pushed a lot of people away because I just felt like nobody understood. And it was my family that encouraged me to come here. And without that, initially coming with not by myself, it was tough. It was tough to accept that you did need help. But knowing that there's so many people that are living in your shoes, you're not alone. And coming to a facility like this encourages you and gives you the strength to say, I'm not different.
We know there are other people out there that have gone through similar to what we have, and just reach out.
We do have more loss in our lives. I know for myself that I have encouraged many people to come here, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And with God's grace, you do. You find it in your heart, in your soul, in your being that you can get up every day. You can continue on with your life. And as my husband always said, life is for the living, and we're still here, so we have to live.
You are still here. You do have a life. You know, you do need to live it. You're not the one that passed away. So, you know, how would he feel if I was just curled up in the bed every day and couldn't get out of the house? I would be getting a butt kicking. You know, that's not how he would have chose to live if the roles had been reversed. So you have to think about what they would have wanted as well. When it comes to the grief process and the emotions and everything that you go through during that time, you need help. You need to talk to somebody. And that's why they're here. That's why this company is here. This is just such an amazing place.
So I witnessed the accident and I immediately stopped, got out of the car along with other people on the road, and I ran over to him, and his wallet was sitting next to him, and I looked at his name and it said William. So for some reason I kept calling him Bill. I grabbed his hand and I wanted to let him know that help was on the way, and just reassurance. I had known that somebody was with my husband, and I had known that it was just comforting to know somebody was there. You know, if you could please let the family know that somebody was with Bill and that he wasn't alone. because, as I said, it was comforting to me to know that somebody was with my husband, and I never got the chance to meet that person. So I was grateful. And it was July 1st. There was an article in the paper, and I had read that Bill passed away. And the whole article was about him, his life, his wife, his community service. So I just had to connect with this person. So I emailed him, and his name was George. And George emailed me back, and I just said, please let the family know that somebody was there. And he proceeded to tell me that Bill was married. Her name was Lynn, ironically my name. And we talked a lot about it and him being really good friends with him. And I just said, please let her, give her my number if she ever wants to talk. The irony that we both lived in Brunswick, our names were Lynn, and we were both married just a little over a year. So never expecting a phone call, never. But just knowing that I reached out was comforting.
When you held his hand and you told him, my name is Lynn, and he squeezed her hand, like that was a comfort for him. So that meant more to me than anyone will know, because he's in the road and Lynn is there. And the man, he was a muscular guy, 6 foot tall, but hated doctors. So if he went to the doctor, he wanted me there. He wanted me to hold his hand. He wanted me to support him. So for him to be in that situation and to hear that name, I felt like that wasn't a coincidence. That wasn't by chance. That was just a godsend. It's one of those things you can't explain. Did my heart break for her because of what she'd already been through and now she had to witness this? Definitely. It definitely did. But on the other token, I was just so grateful. It was unbelievable how grateful I was and how much I thought about her being there and just knowing that he wasn't by himself and somebody did let him know that somebody was there. You're not alone.
And as I'm continuing seeing, directly across from me is this woman, and starts crying. And she's going like this on her name tag. And I looked, and the last name was crossed off, and it said Lynn Bricker. It was her.
The more she talked, and I knew this is the lady. This is the angel that held his hand. And I can't wait. 13 more people. I can't wait. So I said, I know it's not my time, but I need to speak. My husband was killed in a motorcycle accident, and an angel held his hand, and this is her. We have never met.
And
until that day.
That day was the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yes.
We were each other's saviors. We just didn't care about anybody else in the room. We just got up and hugged and cried and
everybody in the room was crying at that point.
A very touching moment. Everybody we have told this story to just knows that it wasn't a coincidence.
It wasn't a coincidence.
It was.
When I left the group meeting after we had our hour-long conversation in the parking lot, I called my brother. My older brother was the one that stayed with me after my husband was killed, and I said, "You will never imagine what just happened." And I told him, and he was like, "There is no way." He said, "You two are supposed to be in each other's lives."
Yeah.
I think to know, and not to know that she lost her husband in almost the same way, and that she had felt that pain, but to know I wasn't alone. And all these other people can sit and talk about it, and you listen to them and you feel their story, but when it's somebody that you end up developing a relationship with, and I mean, she's like my sister, and that is what means so much. That is where it makes the difference.